I mean, you can start talking about it.
Okay.
So,
as far as seeing students and transformation, probably the thing that I see the most and that I find so interesting are there's subtle changes, and they happen over time. So you notice somebody's breath becomes slower and steadier. You notice somebody's body becomes more relaxed, and they also become stronger at the same time. So you can see on their mat that happen, and then you can see their personality kind of settle in too. So it's an interesting thing to watch. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
So you see people more comfortable in their own shoes, I think, and you can see it in our body on the mat, you can see it in your breath, and then you can see it in the interaction after and before class. So that's a really inspiring thing to see,
Very cool.
to witness.
Favorite Lululemon garment?
Surprised I'm gonna say it, because I wouldn't have said it a year ago. But the Wunder Unders are my very, very favorite, because I was really a fan of Groove pants, and I thought I would never like Wunder Under. And with a little coercion, they are now my all-time favorite. All-time favorite.
Not the little boogie shorts that we accidentally gave you.
Not the boogie shorts.
That story still makes me laugh a little bit.
I know.
Talk about transformation that you have personally gone through. Just how has yoga changed your life over there? As you talked, you've been practicing for about 15 years, practicing and teaching. What has that transformation involved?
Let's see. Simply at the beginning, I didn't have the neck and the shoulder issues. I was kind of a chronic this person, and then I got stronger and more flexible. And then all of a sudden I got a little happier and definitely more focused. And that was probably, I could do this for hours on what has changed. But for an example, I was so busy in my head when I started yoga that I remember the moment when I had a quiet moment. And the first Shavasana, when I realized that nothing was going on in my head. And that is a pretty profound thing, to realize that A, it doesn't have to be that busy up there all the time, and B, that, oh my gosh, it was that busy. So that was really life-changing, and encouraging that to be more than just one moment in my however many, 30 years or 20 years of existence at that time. So learning to kind of quiet things down in my mind has been a huge, huge gift. And I think it also makes relationships in my life better too, because I can be more present instead of in my head. And so it's just, every relationship in my life has improved, including the one with myself. So
that's the most important one.
Yeah. So yeah, I could go on forever about that one. So what hasn't it changed? For the better, I don't know.
So we'll talk about goals. Again, I mentioned that we use BHAGs, Big Hairy Audacious Goals. I mean, essentially it's setting goals that are scary. You know, things that you wouldn't normally put down, but you want to do it, and you know, this little voice inside you says, you know what, I'm not. But when you write it down and you let other people hold you accountable, it kind of changes your mentality about it a little bit.
That's true. I try to do things that scare me, and I'm easily scared. I'm kind of a chicken. And so for me, that's why I love handstands and so many of the inversions, because that really helped me become a little more brave and a little more willing to do things. So one of the things, I didn't write it down, but it was kind of a last minute thing and something I've always wanted to do, but I don't really like the ocean, even though I love to be near the ocean. I don't like to be in the ocean. I'm admitting that loud and clear, but so surfing was a huge, huge deal to me. And so when we were on our trip, that's something that I did that I never in a million years thought I would do. And it was wonderful. So absolutely, setting those kind of goals, if you can decide what they would be, I think is great. So I'm kind of still working on figuring those out for myself, but when I see an opportunity, I'm much more willing to take it. And that was one of those opportunities.
Absolutely. Last question. Any advice for someone who either wants to start practicing, encouragement for that, or someone that wants to get into teaching and take on to the level you have?
The biggest advice I have about practicing is sometimes we get caught in the idea that we have to practice an hour and a half at a studio to get a yoga practice in. And really, it's not that. It can be, but it can be 15 minutes at home, sun salutations. It can be 15 minutes of meditation. And it can be not on your mat. And for me, that's been a huge transformation. You know, taking the principles of yoga into your life and taking a breath when things get hairy and crazy and being less reactive and in the moment. So if we're talking about asana practice, which we probably are, you know, chunk it out into little spaces of time so that you can do it every day, because really the more frequently you do it, the more the transformation, I guess, unfolds more quickly is probably the right word, but that maybe isn't the right word. But every day it's a practice, and some days you don't feel like doing it, and you do it. And at the end, you're always glad you did. And I guess that's what I love when we think about it. It's a lifetime practice. Well, and multiple lifetimes. You know, like it's every day, come to your breath, come to your mat, check in. And just do it even if you don't feel like doing it, and you'll be surprised.
Thank you very much for taking time to sit down with us.